From the outside, I have everything they tell you to want. The seven-figure income. The penthouse apartment overlooking a city that never sleeps. The kind of respect that opens doors and silences rooms. I'm the man my parents dreamed their son would become. The first in our entire family tree to truly make it. But last night, I found myself sitting on the cold, marble floor of my multi-million-dollar apartment, the skyline glittering like 1,000 mocking eyes, and I felt a level of guilt I never knew was possible. It's a crushing, suffocating weight that has nothing to do with money and everything to do with what it costs to get it. Because no one ever tells you that the price of this life isn't just the work, it's a piece of your soul. They don't tell you about the silence in a home that's too big, or the way you start to feel like a stranger to the people you love most. We are obsessed with the idea of becoming a millionaire. We listen to the gurus, we read the books, we visualize success. But we never talk about what happens after you get there. What's the dark side of wealth? What's the true psychological price of a seven-figure salary? Is the ultimate prize worth the ultimate sacrifice? This is the untold story, the one you won't see on social media. This is the story of what it really costs. The grind they don't show you. Before the glass tower, before the bespoke suits and the car that cost more than my childhood home, there was a small apartment with peeling paint and the constant, dull hum of financial anxiety. I was a first-generation kid, the son of immigrants who worked their fingers to the bone for a life that was perpetually just out of reach. My father's hands were calloused from labor, my mother's eyes were always tired. They didn't have a financial plan, they had a survival plan. Their dream wasn't wealth, it was stability. A world without collections calls and the fear of a broken-down car. That kind of environment does something to you. It instills a hunger that's primal. For me, money wasn't about greed, it was about salvation. It was the only tool I saw that could build a fortress around my family, protecting them from the hardships that defined my youth. I viewed money as the ultimate form of control in a world that had always felt chaotic and uncertain. And so, I set a goal. Not just to be comfortable. Not just to be well off. I aimed for a number that seemed mythical, impossible, a seven-figure income. That became my religion. The path to that number is paved with sacrifices that sound noble in a motivational speech but are brutal in practice. My 20s and early 30s weren't a highlight reel of travel and self-discovery. They were a blur of 80, 90, sometimes 100-hour work weeks. While my friends were having weekend barbecues, I was dissecting spreadsheets. While they were falling in love, I was courting investors. The concept of a work-life balance was a myth, a luxury I told myself I couldn't afford. It was a simple, dangerous equation. Sacrifice everything now for the promise of everything later. I remember my daughter's 4th birthday. I was on a conference call to close a deal that would be a cornerstone of my company's success. My wife put the phone next to the cake, and I listened, muted, as my family sang, "Happy birthday," to my little girl. I could hear her ask, "Is Daddy coming?" And the hollow feeling in my chest was something I pushed down, compartmentalized. It's for her, I told myself. All of this is for her. I missed weddings. I missed funerals. I lost touch with friends not out of malice, but out of sheer, relentless attrition. My phone became a tool for transactions, not connections. My health was an afterthought. Sleep was a necessary evil, something to be minimized. I operated on a cycle of burn and recharge, pushing myself to the absolute limit, collapsing for a day, and then starting all over again. This wasn't just hard work, it was a voluntary demolition of my own life in the service of building a financial empire. Hustle culture celebrates this. It puts the person who sleeps 4 hours a night on a pedestal. It leonizes the entrepreneur who says they haven't taken a day off in years. It sells you the dream that this brutal, self-flagellating process is the only gateway to true freedom. And I bought into it completely. I wore my exhaustion like a badge of honor. I saw the bags under my eyes as proof of my commitment. I truly believed that once I crossed that seven-figure threshold, the world would transform. The sacrifices would be validated. The pain would recede, and I'd finally be able to step off the hamster wheel and just be. I'd be able to buy back the time I had lost. I'd be able to repair the relationships I had neglected. The money would fix everything. It was the most expensive lie I ever told myself. The day the wire transfer hit, officially pushing my net worth and annual income into seven-figure territory, was surprisingly anticlimactic. You'd think there would be a chorus of angels, a sudden wave of profound peace. It was just a number on a screen. But for a moment, the euphoria was real. It was the culmination of a decade of relentless, soul-crushing work. The first few months were a blur of wish fulfillment. I paid off my parents' mortgage in a single transaction, a moment of such profound relief and joy that it almost made everything feel worth it. I bought the house, the one with more rooms than we knew what to do with. I bought the car, the sleek, German-engineered machine I'd had a poster of on my wall as a kid. We took extravagant vacations. I posted the photos online, me, my beautiful wife, my smiling children, all against a backdrop of pristine beaches and five-star hotels. My social media was a curated gallery of success. The captions were humble, but the message was clear. I had made it. I had won. But behind the filtered pictures, the psychological cracks started to appear almost immediately. And the first, most insidious one was guilt. As a first-generation millionaire, you're an anomaly in your own social ecosystem. I was straddling two worlds, and I belonged in neither. When I was with my old friends, the ones I grew up with, an invisible wall stood between us. The simple act of going out for dinner became a complex social negotiation. If I offered to pay, it felt like charity, creating a power dynamic that made everyone uncomfortable. If I didn't, I felt stingy, knowing the cost of the meal meant nothing to me but might be a significant expense for them. Conversations became minefields. They'd talk about struggling with rent or saving up for a modest family vacation, and I would just nod, unable to share any of my own problems. How could I possibly complain about the tax implications of a stock sale or the stress of managing a large portfolio? I learned to stay silent, to edit my life down to a series of bland, unrelatable anecdotes. You start to feel this money shame, and it's a powerful force that keeps people quiet. With my family, it was even more complicated. I became the de facto solution to every financial problem. A cousin's car broke down. A distant aunt had medical bills. I was expected to step in, and I did. But over time, the requests became more frequent, the sense of entitlement more palpable. I started to feel less like a son or a brother, and more like a walking, talking ATM. This is a common struggle for first-generation wealth builders who often feel a deep financial responsibility to their families. Setting boundaries feels like a betrayal of where you came from, but not setting them can lead to resentment. So you give, and a small part of you starts to resent it, and then you feel guilty for feeling that resentment. It's a vicious cycle. Then came the pressure. The number that was supposed to represent freedom became my new warden. Hitting a seven-figure income isn't a finish line. It's just the entry ticket to a much more stressful league. The game changes from accumulation to preservation. Suddenly, you have something immense to lose. A bad quarter didn't just mean a smaller bonus. It meant the potential collapse of the entire structure I had built. Your mindset has to shift from being an ambitious builder to a defensive guardian, and that transition is emotionally exhausting. And the most counterintuitive part of it all? The richer I got, the poorer I felt in one crucial resource: time. There's a well-documented phenomenon where increased income can actually lead to a greater feeling of being rushed, a concept known as time poverty. You'd think more money means you can buy back your time, hire a chef, a driver, an assistant. And you can. But the complexity of managing that wealth, the sheer number of decisions you have to make about investments, taxes, and legal structures, creates a new kind of work. It's more work, not less. Even as I outsourced tasks, my mind was never free. The responsibility was all-consuming. I had more passive income, but I had no passive thoughts. My brain was always on, always calculating, always worrying. I had escaped the prison of financial scarcity only to find myself in the gilded cage of perpetual responsibility. The initial glow of wealth fades quickly, and what's left is the stark reality of your new life. What used to be a luxury rapidly becomes a necessity. That's the insidious nature of lifestyle inflation or lifestyle creep. It doesn't happen overnight with a yacht and a private jet. It creeps in, silently and reasonably. First, it's the bigger house. That comes with a bigger mortgage, higher property taxes, and more expensive insurance. Then you find yourself in a neighborhood where everyone sends their kids to private school, so you do too, because you want to give your kids the best. That's another 6 figures a year. Your new peer group vacations in Aspen and St. Bart's, so your family beach trip to a regular resort suddenly feels inadequate. Your spending baseline recalibrates. What was once an extravagant splurge becomes the new normal. Soon, you're living a life that costs hundreds of thousands, or even millions, of dollars a year just to maintain. You're not necessarily living like a movie star, but you are caught in a web of high fixed expenses. These are the golden handcuffs. You have a 7-figure income, but you also have 7-figure expenses. You're technically free, but you can't walk away. Quitting your high-stress job is no longer an option, because the entire lifestyle is built on that income. It's like you're on a hedonic treadmill, running faster and faster not to get ahead, but just to stay in the same place. Wealth isn't what you earn, it's what you keep. But my life was now designed to keep very little of it without the engine of my work running at full throttle. On top of that financial pressure is a profound and deepening sense of isolation. The wall between me and my old life grew higher and thicker. Friendships that had once been effortless now felt like work. I couldn't share my biggest anxieties. Complaining that a market downturn cost me the equivalent of a friend's annual salary isn't just unrelatable, it's offensive. So you learn to perform a version of yourself that is palatable to others. And that silence is a heavy burden. Wealth is supposed to connect you to the world, but for me, it felt like being put behind soundproof glass. I could see everyone, but I couldn't truly connect. And within my new circle of high-earning peers, a different, more toxic psychological game was being played. The comparison game. No matter how much you have, there is always someone with more. You finally buy the 6,000 square foot house, and your neighbor is building a 10,000 square foot one. You celebrate a successful business exit, and you read about someone 10 years younger who sold their company for 10 times what you did. This constant upward comparison erodes any sense of accomplishment. Your 7-figure salary starts to feel average. You're a Henry, a high earner, not rich yet. This is a real psychological state where, despite a massive income, individuals feel financially insecure because their assets haven't caught up or they're weighed down by debt and lifestyle costs. The goalpost doesn't just move, it becomes a ghost you can never catch. It's been said that happiness is your reality minus your expectations, and when your expectations are constantly being inflated by the world around you, contentment becomes mathematically impossible. My entire identity had become fused with my success. I wasn't Alex, the husband, the father, the friend. I was Alex, the founder. Alex, the millionaire. My self-worth was a direct reflection of my net worth. The fear of failure became an existential terror. If I lost the money, who would I be? What value would I have? I had sacrificed so much of my authentic self to build this empire that I no longer knew who I was without it. You see this with so many high achievers. The lawyer who builds a 7-figure firm but wonders if the sacrifice of his personal life was worth it. The physician who, despite a massive income, is still crushed by student debt and the pressure of managing a practice. The franchise owner who scales to millions in revenue but is chained to the daily grind. We see their success, their income, their material possessions. We don't see the silent battles they are fighting inside their own heads, the constant, grinding pressure to maintain a life that looks perfect from the outside but can feel hollow and terrifying from within. If any of this is resonating with you, if you're tired of the perfectly polished version of success you see online, take a moment to subscribe. We're committed to exploring the real, unfiltered truths about wealth, success, and the pursuit of a meaningful life. The conversations we avoid are often the ones we need to have the most. The unraveling wasn't a sudden explosion, it was a slow, silent decay. But every decay has a breaking point. For me, it came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was in the middle of a high-stakes negotiation, pacing my office, phone pressed to my ear. My wife had called a few times, but I'd ignored it as I so often did. When I finally finished the call, triumphant and energized by the deal, I saw a string of texts from her. The first was a picture of our son, holding up a small, lopsided clay pot he'd made in his art class. The second was a video of him on a little stage in the school gymnasium, a single line in the school play. The final text, sent an hour before, just said, "He kept looking for you in the crowd. I told him you were busy saving the world. I wish you were here saving us instead." That message didn't just hit me, it shattered me. In that moment, the entire artifice of my life collapsed. The deals, the numbers, the status, it all felt like a cheap, pathetic substitute for what I had just missed. My son wasn't looking for a millionaire in the crowd. He was looking for his dad. And his dad wasn't there. I was sitting in a leather chair, in a glass tower, feeling completely and utterly bankrupt. That was my rock bottom. The realization that I had meticulously built a life I didn't want, at the cost of the only life that mattered. The true cost of my seven-figure salary wasn't the hours I'd put in, it was the moments I'd lost forever. The laughter, the scraped knees, the bedtime stories. I had traded priceless moments for a price tag. For days, I was adrift. The motivation that had driven me for 15 years was gone, replaced by a profound sense of emptiness and regret. But in that darkness, a new question started to form. It was no longer, how can I make more? It was, what is all of this for? I didn't want to lose what I had built, but I refused to continue living as a slave to it. The goal couldn't be to just get rid of the wealth. It had to be to change my relationship with it. I started searching for different models of success, looking for people who had achieved financial freedom without sacrificing their personal freedom. That's when I came across the story of an online entrepreneur who had built a multi-seven-figure business but had hit a similar wall of burnout. Her solution wasn't to work harder, it was to work smarter. She had intentionally redesigned her entire business model around passive and recurring revenue streams. Her philosophy was a game changer for me. She treated work-life balance not as an optional perk, but as a core business strategy. She famously said that success without balance isn't success at all. It's just exhaustion in nicer clothes. That became my new blueprint. The pivot was slow and difficult. It meant saying no to opportunities that didn't align with my new definition of success. It meant delegating responsibilities I had once clung to, trusting my team to run the systems I created. I started scheduling non-negotiable family time in my calendar with the same seriousness I scheduled board meetings. I put my phone away when I walked in the door. I started taking my son to school and being there for the school plays, even if it meant a deal had to wait. I started having dinner with my wife, with no screens, and talking about things other than work. It felt awkward at first, like learning a new language. But slowly, painstakingly, I started to feel like a human being again. I was learning to see money not as a scorecard for my self-worth, but as a tool. A tool to be used intentionally to design a life, not a tool that designed my life for me. The journey from a seven-figure income to a seven-figure life isn't measured in dollars, but in awareness. I still have the income, the house, the outward symbols of success. But my relationship with them has fundamentally changed. The goal is no longer about accumulation for its own sake, but about using my resources to maximize freedom, connection, and peace of mind. The cautionary tale of the first-generation millionaire is a powerful one because it reflects a universal struggle. We're a society that glorifies the destination of wealth, but we rarely examine the map or question the toll the journey takes. We're taught to chase a number, believing it will bring us happiness. But happiness has its own equation, and it's often much simpler than we think. As it's been wisely said, happiness equals reality minus expectations. When our expectations are tied to an ever-increasing net worth, we're setting ourselves up for a lifetime of dissatisfaction. A seven-figure salary can be an incredible instrument. It can provide security, create opportunities, and allow you to have a positive impact on the world. But it can also be a trap, a set of golden handcuffs that lock you into a life of pressure, isolation, and regret. The true cost isn't measured on a tax return. It's measured in missed moments, in strained relationships, in the loss of your authentic self. If there's one thing to take away from all this, it's that you must define what success means to you, independent of what society tells you. Is it a number in a bank account? Or is it the freedom to be present for your child's school play? Is it the respect of strangers? Or is it the laughter of friends around a dinner table? There is no right answer, but it's a question you have to ask yourself. Because if you don't build your life by design, you'll be forced to live it by default. And that is a price far too high for any salary to cover. What's one sacrifice you are, or aren't, willing to make for your definition of success? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The most important conversations are the ones we have together. And for more deep dives into the real stories behind wealth, make sure to watch one of the videos you see on your screen now. Thanks for watching.